Hello, Raiders. This is Lai once again, and today we're going to talk about one of the important dungeons in this game. It's going to be Dragon. So this is a Dragon 101 guide for beginners and intermediate people who's playing Raid, probably up to 3 months or 4 months. If you weren't able to beat Dragon, at least this video might be able to help you out. So let's do some Dragon runs really quick, and then let's discuss the champion that's actually viable for Dragon. So there are important things that I need to discuss, and I need to you to know how important these things are. So let's start with the champions that you would be planning to, let's say, get to level 60. Because the planning ahead, that's really one of the things that a player needs to have to be successful in this game, or to be successful with the team composition, with whatever let's say composition that we'll be doing in the future, and then to avoid wasting of resources. Now, first thing that you need to have, sorry about that, it's actually a damage type champion. For dragons, the most effective is actually a poisoner. Okay. Now, Frozen Banshee is actually the best option. All right, but there are also rares. The reason why I don't wanna mention some rares, which is also a poisoner, because I wanna really want you to get Frozen Banshee as possible, and then level him up to 60, because she can be used even in the later Clan Boss team, even Ultra Nightmare. So it's worth leveling her up to 60. All right. Second, probably most important for damagers, like the champion based on enemy max HP. Like for rare void, it's Cold Heart basically. That's the top one. All right. And other champion like Husk. Okay. Or the third one is like a strong single attack champion. So there are just few. Most of them are really legendaries, but a strong single attack can also probably just deplete boss HP as boss try to do the Scorch skill. All right. Now, second, okay, champion that you needs to have on this is the mob control. If you can see, Belaware here is actually the one that serves as a mob control champion. I put him on stun set. It doesn't have any masteries maxed out, probably just tier 2 masteries. Stun set with a bit of a damage, and then also Belaware can stun them and then do some skill lock, increase decrease defense, decrease attack, decrease speed. All right, so Belaware does have a lot of debuffs here. Just check Apothecary, right? Skill lock, decrease speed, decrease attack, decrease defense. That's really Belaware is so good for this kind of dungeon. All right. Now the third one is the Reviver. As you can see, Reliquary Tender is really one of the best Reviver rare in this game because she does also cleanse. All right, and she's the one that's making it 100% win rate possible. Okay. Um, okay, so going back to mob control, you can also use like skill lock, deplete turn meter, freeze, fear. Like I preferred AoE champs who does that. So just for the mobs, and then if you're good, then all right, you can definitely beat Dragon. So all right, we're on number 4 now. So debuffer. If you don't have Belaware, because Baylor does probably two in one here. He can do like mob control by his stun skill with all AoE skill. If you don't have him, then probably you can use other champion that does AoE debuff, like we call that War Maiden. She can also be used. What was that? Fleshmonger. Um, all right, that would make your run probably faster and makes the mobs easier to kill because of the decreased attack or any debuff. All right, and a faster run. So number five is Affinity. So if we actually talk about Affinity here, at least you need to have two Affinity. All right, either you can pick a champion that like Eothar, okay, who is strong in magic affinity, can also be used in force. All right, and then your damager probably you can have Spider, which is an epic. War Maiden is also good. So basically, this three here, Apothecary, Reliquary Tender, Belaware, it can be used in any of the affinity. Because Apothecary really it will serve as like a tank, right? If we don't have anything. All right, just put him in a higher defense and a low HP, so he's the one that's going to be targeted. Because again, you can manipulate who's going to be targeted if the champion has a lesser HP compared to all of the champions you have. But at least those champions you have, either it's a strong affinity or a neutral. Once it's a neutral, it's going to pick the one who has lesser HP. So basically, since Apothecary is the weaker affinity, if it comes to force, then he's the one's going to be targeted. If it's magic, as long as you have in a lesser him on a lesser HP, then he's the one's going to be targeted. Okay, just manipulate the aggro or who's going to be targeted. Okay, make sure that Reliquary Tender is not going to be targeted because no one's going to revive Reliquary Tenders. She's the only reviver in your team, okay? It doesn't matter if Frozen Banshee die, KL, well aware, as long as Reliquary Tender is alive. All right? Um, okay, so that's about it, Affinity. And at least have two, and then just switch it, okay? So Aothar is really one of the poisoner who can be used in an end game. Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss, not a problem. Holt Brawler, not a, that's also one of the for rares, except for Frozen Banshee, I'm actually thinking, but I guess there is really none compared to Frozen Banshee. Kale can be used, but Kale is not really consistent because he does like a weaker poison version in his A1. All right, so let's go ahead and check my champion here. So this champion doesn't really have good gears, doesn't really have a masteries maxed out. Um, yeah, Kale does. I have him on Helm Smasher so he can do more damage. Apothecary, I've used him in Clan Boss, so I need to max out these masteries. Frozen Banshee there. But the MVP here, which is Belaware, doesn't really have mastery, so I just use this because he would increase his speed 18 for each enemy he actually killed. And then this one also has 30% chance of increasing turn meter by 10 when the debuff cast by this champion is removed or expired. Just imagine like four debuffs maximum he can cast, and then once it expires, so it's gonna increase like chance of increasing 10% turn meter. So imagine how fast he can go. So he can go like probably 2 to 3 turns for each one turn of the mobs. Then he can actually lock them with a stun or skill lock or decrease defense, decrease speed. All right. His gear, just you don't really have to have this kind of gear if you're just starting on in this game. You can just have like any stun set as long as it has accuracy, and then it doesn't really have to be this like great gear here. All right, have him on higher HP so he won't be targeted, and then that's about it. Stun, if you don't have stun, just do like accuracy or speed. So at least he can lock the skill or cooldown or increase defense or attack and speed. Because if you notice, his all of his skills here are based are AoE, and then he does a lot of really debuffs. Okay, so make sure you have him on at least 200 accuracy. Reliquary Tender here doesn't really have masteries. Um, Basically just for support. Even the gear, sorry about that. Even the gear doesn't really, it's not really maxed out. So But that's about it. All right. So again, just to give you a quick recap, to beat Dragon, you need to plan ahead. Make sure the champion that you would be leveling up to 60 are viable in the end game. All right. So need to have like damage based on enemy max HP. But for Dragon, poison is really important. The second important is damage based on enemy max HP, and third is the strong single attack champion for Dragon. Okay. Second is you need to have a champion which controls the mob, like AoE stun, skill lock, AoE skill lock, depletes turn meter, freeze, fear. All right. Um, Reviver. So if your champion it's not really like really not strong enough to clear dragon without I don't know without reviver, because probably some of your champions could die if you don't have any utility champion that could increase defense, put some shield. If you don't have that, make sure you have this. All right, and there are just few champions who does that. It's really Lego or Epic champion. You know, for free to play or low sprinters, it's really hard for us to get those kind of champions. So if you get really career tender, yeah, it's worth leveling her up to 60. And then fourth is the debuffer. Okay, so basically, Belaware has two, let's say, used here. That's why he's the MVP because he can do some debuff, and then he can also stun. All right, and do some skill lock like cooldown here, block cooldown skills, so the mobs can do their really hard hitting skill. All right. It would also make it like a faster run because if he has like decreased defense, you can do more damage. Okay, you can make your run even faster. You can also use like War Maiden. All right. Now the fifth is going to be the affinity of the champion that you would be using. As we discussed earlier, at least you need to have two affinity of the champion that you need to work on. So all the support, it's actually void. So mine, I'm just focusing on the damager and the poisoner. But if you don't have this Belaware, you can use anyone. Put him on the stun as long as they can do AoE or most of their skills, A1, A2 are based on AoE. They could be viable for that. If not, you can just do some increased defense, shield. All right, so at least you cannot take more damage and make your champion die in the run. So, all right. Again, just a tip. Okay, you can manipulate the who's gonna be attacked. Okay, by having them a lesser HP in all of the champions that you have, but they need to be like a weaker affinity or a neutral. Okay, they can't be a strong affinity because they won't be targeted unless there's really a huge gap. Okay, so that's probably all about it, guys. The next video, we're gonna talk about how to beat spiders, what are the champions you need to prepare for spiders, and probably we're after that we're also gonna talk about what are the champion that can be viable for dragon and spiders. As we all know, clan boss is really the most important feature in this game because that is where you can get most of your rewards, and that's daily. All right, arena is trash. Yeah, you can. It's fun. You can build your great hall, but it takes time. It takes a lot of resources. Okay, and then the rewards weekly is just trash. It's really about the medals. Okay, for the arena. It's fun, yeah, but it's not worth really investing your time so much. Okay, probably if you really have a champion later on in the game, because you really need to have those kind of champion, defense champion. Even in my main account, I'm having a hard time just getting to gold 4 because I don't have really a solid defense arena team. All right, So that's about it. I hope it helps you guys. If you have any question, if you have any ideas that you would like to share, please put a comment. If you like the video, please subscribe and help me out with getting more subscribers. All right. Well, thank you so much. You have a great day and enjoy. Bye bye.